Going live. We're live. Hello.
God, what just happened?
David's name is literally, that was crazy.
I am blown away by this episode.
The artist formerly known as David.
Yes.
Is here with us. Hi, everybody in the chat.
Hi.
Lindsay, Seth, Jill, Shafika, Chris, Haley. Oh my gosh, thank you for hanging out and waiting for us. Griffin. That was insane. That was such a good episode.
I just don't know. I don't even know where to start, really. Should we start by being professional?
Well, yes, that first. Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm David. Let's talk about Survivor 40 Winners at War this episode.
Yes, but first, if you're new to this channel, please click subscribe and give this video a thumbs up.
And if you want to support us on Patreon, there's a link in the description. Okay, so we start.
Wait a minute. Wait, first, David, your audio is not right from my end. Chat, does it sound right to you guys? Like as soon as we went live, it went different. Talk to us, David.
Hello, hello, hello. Testing the audio. I can take my AirPods out if I need to, if that's easier.
Well, if it works for everybody else, then I just want to make sure because you were going in and out for me.
Okay.
It's muffled.
How are we feeling, chat?
Your audio? Oh, it's fine with me, and then it's muffled. Okay, they're saying good. Okay.
Okay, great.
Okay, good.
Believe it.
All right. What were we saying?
I was just diving right into this episode, saying that we start with Ben, and they're sort of like justifying the Rob vote out, and Ben is like, I didn't like Rob treating me like a newbie. Like, I'm a winner, so, don't treat me like I don't know what I'm doing. That's why I voted you out. And now it's like party on Yara because Ben is feeling like I really like Sarah and Sophie, and Adam is a little bit more nervous, but they're just all a little more at ease with Rob out of the game.
Yeah, Ben definitely apparently worked those relationships with Sarah and Sophie, feeling good, party. But Adam did realize, whoops, I might not be in a good place. Like Ben's not really talking to me much. He's definitely talking to the girls. So Adam did realize, like, yes, it was great to get Rob out, but that might have screwed my game.
Yeah. I was shocked, though, at the lack of Rob and Amber reunion on Extinction Island. Like, we go to Extinction, and we're just in the midst of it.
Yeah, right? We were all expecting, honey, I'm home. I don't know, something.
Right. Good to see you. Kiss on the cheek at least, but nada. Yeah.
No, right into, we see Tyson with the log with the clue.
Yeah.
The more stones you turn, the more chances you get. So off they go.
Yes.
Amber, it's on the edge. That's where they head.
I love your Rob so much.
It's so bad, Rob. Please don't be offended if you ever.
So good. But really, like, I think that they had to make this segment fast. Like, it was edited together. Like, it was kind of frantic. Kind of felt like a little rush because there was so much gameplay to get to in this episode.
Apparently.
So the focus of this Extinction segment is Tyson. So he, brings the clue. They're turning over stones. And then he's the one who's kind of putting together this clue of like right place, right time. And that has to do with the tide. And then sure enough, he goes to these rocks where it's low tide and there's the clue. And he finds it, hides it, and then eventually finds out that he's found this idol nullifier.
Yes, I love that he had to pretend to pee to get it. They're all kind of looking at him. He sees it. He eventually grabs it, shoves it in his man panties.
Right, yeah.
And then, okay, it's an idol nullifier that he immediately, like so quickly, immediately sells. It's like immediate transaction. Sells it to Parvati.
Yes.
Which is great because Parvati's the rich one. So
yeah,
she's like, heck yeah.
Thank you, Tyson. Yeah.
Yeah. So easy now. I only have 3, whatever. And then immediately back to Tyson, who's like, I want a jar of peanut butter.
I was like, Natalie's sitting there with 4 tokens on Extinction, hasn't purchased one thing. Like, she could easily buy an idol or something, like nothing. And Tyson gets 1 fire token and he's like, give me food.
Right. So he's standing there secretly eating peanut butter in his man panties. I mean, what more can we ask for on Edge of Extinction? It was perfect.
Honestly, and that is a massive jar of peanut butter. So he's going to be eating that for days. Like that may end up helping him in some kind of physical challenge if they have to battle back.
Exactly. I mean, it's true. Like, it's so weird since we've like seen Natalie hoard these for something bigger and better. But he's right. If he eats peanut butter every day, that definitely gives him an advantage.
I know. That's a smart move on his part. At first, I was like, why is he already spending this token? But, you know, on second thought, I'm like, good move, Tyson.
So
then we go right into immunity.
Yes, right? Okay. Yeah. Immunity. This is when they have their shocked faces about Rob.
Right.
Rob being voted out. What?
Right.
Love it. Biggest reaction I've ever seen.
Yeah, and we've got to have two people sit out because obviously the Yara tribe is one person down. So Sandra goes and sits on the Sandra bench, and Michelle joins her from Saleh tribe. So those are the two sitting out this time.
I did question why Michelle is, why not Parvati? Why not, like Parvati is obviously strong and smart and great, but she is 10 months from having a baby. Like she just had a baby.
True.
So she's not like tip top shape. I just would imagine Michelle would be, I would imagine Parvati should have sat out, but what do I know?
Yeah, you didn't see like Parvati necessarily pushing to sit out. It just kind of was like, should I? Michelle's like, should I? Okay, yeah, I guess I'll sit out. Like, I don't know what the conversation was there, but yeah, good point that maybe like Michelle is a little more capable in physical challenges, given that Parvati is 10 months postpartum. But
but
at any rate,
how did Sophie know that it was peanut butter and jelly? She is so smart. She's so
she's
smart.
Done her homework. She's
that
done
she
that
knows
homework.
the reward.
Yes, and they also reveal that it's one tribe, right? Like we all knew this going into the episode that there was only going to be one tribe winning immunity, but now all of the survivors are finding out. And they are stressed, like lots of like heads and hands. Oh my God, like this is not a situation you want to be in Survivor, because like Adam compares it at the end of the immunity challenge, like this is like 2 weeks of Survivor in one, because you go from, 14 people to 12 in one challenge. This is great. So, I mean, this is like definitely a tense moment for everybody. So this again, they swim, they get in a boat, they throw bags of rice over. They have to shove the bags of rice through this like small hole. It kind of feels like childbirth, like fitting something through a tiny hole that's not supposed to fit. And then you're climbing over and jumping in the ocean and lugging. It's just like, give these people a break.
So much. It's so much. And then of course, as you say every week, it's going to come down to the puzzle.
And it always does. Yeah.
All right. Well, we do see. Yeah.
I do think that this one doesn't. It's not as close on the puzzle as they made it seem in the edit, but go ahead with what you were going to say.
Well, okay, so we see Saleh gets out of the water first, and at one point Jeff's like, Yara, in the very last, holding up the rear. But then DeCall does pass them. DeCall is the next out of, or DeCall ends up being out of the water last. Yara does get up there. So Saleh and Yara are to the puzzle first and basically at the same time. Okay, and then DeCall, they're really
they were
struggling.
Just like Denise and Kim were like struggling with that final rice bag, and then even like Tony and Jeremy also just look exhausted when they get to the like knife portion of it. Like they can't find the knife, and then they just aren't really stabbing with the same vigor that we see Ben stabbing with. Ben is like carving up like a dead carcass or something, like just
and
like slashing through these rice bags.
And it looked like he just did them back to back. He just like kept going. Whereas the other ones, they were like trading off, like I'll do one and then you do it,
Yes, I thought maybe you had to do that because everybody was like trading off, but Ben would just beasted through it. I was like, whoa, Ben, okay, go ahead. So Yara, like you say, like DeCall is a little bit behind. Yara and Saleh are both at the puzzle. And Sophie does a good job. She gets the first ball in for Yara. And then I think Adam
does a phenomenal job.
Yeah, she kind of. Well, also, I did love the way that Sophie was doing this puzzle because she was just like, ooh, 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 ooh. It looked like Sophie chill, like just relax and get a feel for it. But she was like beasting through it, and she just seemed to, it worked for her, you know, like I don't know how she did all these like spastic movements with this thing, but she got that first ball in the first cup.
She did. And then she swapped out. Adam stepped up and he was able to quickly get it. We see Jeremy start, then Kim take over.
And the call is just still a mess.
Nick started, then Wendell went back to Nick. But ultimately, Sophie comes in for her second time and just it was so crazy. It was so good. It was so good to watch.
So good. I will say claps to the editors for like making it seem like maybe Nick was going to catch up to Sophie, because Sophie and Nick were both working on the final ball at the same time. But Sophie was so clearly near that final cup at the end that you knew they were pulling like alternate shots of the ball, like rolling the other way and then rolling back and then rolling away. I was like, they're really doing everything they can to make it seem close. But I think Yara had this one in the bag for sure.
Oh, yeah. Sophie just looked like a genius. She was she was like, yeah, don't worry. I got it. Like, it's going to take me a second, but like, I got it.
Yeah, right.
So that means we got to go back to camp for Sele and DeCall.
And I got to say, at this point, I look at the clock and we are 18 minutes into the episode and we already know the two tribes who are going to immunity. I'm like, I texted you, Sarah, while we were watching. I'm like, we are about to see so much game. This is incredible. We already know who's safe. And we also have almost no context for who's going to be a target, because the only, you know, pre-extinction, pre-immunity segment we got was Ben kind of feeling good and Adam feeling a little nervous on the Yara tribe. But now Yara is totally safe. So we have no idea who the target is on DeCall and Sele. I was so excited to go back to camp.
Yes. So side note, like David and I, obviously, we're not in the same place. We're being compassionately, responsibly distancing. And so we are watching it separately. We don't get to watch it together. And so we were texting and we're like, what? Thank goodness for technology, right?
I know. So I think we go back to Sele first, right? And Parvati kind of feels vulnerable.
Well, we see Wendell like immediately. I did not see this coming where Wendell was in charge. This is the tribe with Yule. I thought Yule was in charge. Hello, Yule runs this joint. And the first thing we see is Wendell being like, so yeah, Parvati, right? We're going to do Parvati. Everyone go with Parvati. And I was like, what? Oh, hold up. What? Slow your roll. Then we see Michelle and Parvati basically realizing they get it. They know what's happening.
Right. And we see a little bit with Nick too, where he's like, oh man, like I've always wanted to play with Parvati. Like she was my crush, blah, blah, blah. But he's, you know, weighing his options of like, do I play with Parvati or do I stick with my allies? Like I built this alliance with Yule and Wendell. Maybe I should just, you know, stay strong with that. Then we see this great segment of Parvati and Michelle on the beach together or wherever they were. And Parvati's talking about Yule's body language, which I loved. And she's like, every time I talk to Yule, his arms are crossed, his legs are crossed. He is not interested in any kind of like exchange that I have to offer with him. He does not want to work with me. But they kind of are recognizing that Nick is potentially a weak link. Like, do we try to exploit this? Maybe we can flip this and get Wendell out, because Wendell seems to be their target.
Yes. I loved the contrast of Wendell being like, Parvati, right? And then Nick being like, oh, but I wanted to work with her.
Right.
Like, oh, Nick, do something. Yes. Now, the conversation between Michelle and Wendell, that's where we go next, right?
Yeah.
And what was she just trying to be like, hey, can we work something out? Feeling him out?
Can't explain it.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I have no idea. She's trying to work it to like her advantage, essentially. Like she sees,
is there a way to keep Parv?
Right. Like, is there a way to keep Parv? Or if I have to cut her loose, like, can I make something happen here? So she, you know, goes to Wendell and then it's like, well, look, like, I got to vote for you because I want Parvati's fire tokens. And Wendell's like, hold up. Like, if you vote for me and Parvati votes for me, then that's 2 and you only need 1 more. And clearly you're just in this for the fire tokens. Like, I see you playing the game really hard right now. So he's kind of like,
yes, she should. Thank you.
Yeah, he is not pleased with this conversation that he's had with Michelle. But then she feels like he always takes. I'm giving, and he's just taking. Like, this is exactly how it was in our relationship, you know, like there's too much baggage there. They're never going to be able to work together.
So much baggage. Like, every little game thing that happens, she's like, oh, he did this before.
Yeah.
Well, so that inspires Wendell, though, to like make a game move with Parvati. So he then goes to Parvati. He's like, I'm not going to let Michelle get the fire tokens. I want her fire tokens. So he's like, what kind of deal? What can we make here?
My God, this standoff between the two of them was so good.
It was so good.
At first, like, you know, he's like, well, clearly you're going after me. And she's like, clearly you're going after me. Like, neither of them was like budging. And then, like, all of a sudden, Wendell's like, well, look, you know, I want some fire tokens. So if you want to like kick me a couple of fire tokens, I'll vote for whoever you want. And she's like, before or after? And he's like, well, clearly before. She's like, I can't give it. It's just this like back and forth. They're like both too smart to like fall into a stupid deal.
Exactly. Like, there's no way you can play Parvati like that. Like, she's just not going to be like, okay, I'm going to trust you, Wendell, who I've not ever worked with before.
Right.
Like, not going to happen. So obviously the standoff goes nowhere and they part ways. Right. And Parvati, though, being as smart as she is, does try to say, well, look, I got a little bit of info, so let me work with that. And
I have ammunition now. Yeah.
Look, Wendell's trying to make a deal with me, bargaining for tokens. He's willing to vote with me. He's not trustworthy.
And he's like, oh, this is exactly what Tyson was doing.
So, you know, to like hit a chord with Nick.
Yeah. And then we also see like Michelle talking to Nick a little bit too. So they're both, you know, continuing to try to massage this Nick angle because that's really their best hope, because you will like stoic, you know, like not budging. But, you know, Parvati has this idol nullifier, but that doesn't help her going into this tribal council. So she's really just having to rely on the social aspect of the game and like just trying to put a target on anybody other than her. And obviously right now it's Wendell. So that's kind of what we see from the Tele tribe. Then we go to the
I do have to say at this point, if there was an idol to be purchased for 3 tokens, Parvati would have done that, right? I don't believe I remember seeing that you could buy immunity for 3 tokens. I think it was way more than that. If that was even on there. Was that even on there? Or was it just advantage?
I don't even remember the menu on the. Was there a menu on the island? Like, the idol on Extinction is definitely 3 tokens. I remember that from this episode, but I don't know about a menu on the island and what the prices are.
Well, it was the very first episode, so how I should have taken a screen grab. I don't have it. I don't know the menu.
Right.
I'm a rookie at fire tokens. Okay. Yes, let's move on to DeCall. That's where we head first. And guess where we start? With Tony in a spy shack.
Tony has arrived, folks. Okay. He's playing the same old game that we love from him. He's paranoid. He's not feeling safe. So he disappears and creates a spy shack by the well, and it's like peeking through the palm fronds and trying to like get some information. I think it ultimately proves to be fruitless, but it is entertaining to watch.
It's fruitless, and it puts, you know, like fear and concern in the rest of the people who are shockingly not saying spy shack. Like, it took a long time for Sandra to say spy shack. They were all just like, where is he? This is weird. Where did he
go? Yeah.
So like, they obviously don't love that he disappeared, whether he was looking for an idol or whatever it is. They don't love that. But I was surprised that it took, like, obviously Sandra knew. And she was like, let's keep walking. Let's find a safe place to talk. Because she knows what Tony's up to.
And the fact that there was a little bit of, because DeCall's a little bit more all over the place, right? Like, Jeremy and Denise both express that they are willing to write each other's name down, right? But I'm surprised that Tony's antics didn't paint more of a target on him. Like, there was a little bit of chatter. Obviously, Jeremy's like, why would he leave at such an important time? Everybody's like, where did he go? Kim's kind of expressing in a confessional, like, I don't like being in an alliance with someone like this. Like, he's totally unreliable, too paranoid. This is like too showy of a game. Like, what is going on? But there weren't ever really conversations in earnest about like, do we just get Tony out? Like, I think I didn't realize how tight Tony, Sandra, and Kim were. Like, they definitely were planning on voting with the numbers this week. I knocked my table.
Well, I was mostly surprised that Kim was playing it so safe, because last episode she was like, "Ooh, loving this Jeremy vibe. Ooh, loving this Denise. I've got options." And so, like, here she is. She could have been like, "Let's make a move." She didn't have to just settle with that trio. So I was surprised that she was just sort of going with the flow. Now, am I surprised that Sandra's open to negotiating something with, you know, mixing it up? No, of course not. But the way she did it was fantastic. I mean, first we see Denise sort of touching base with Sandra and Kim, and is like, you know, well, what do I have to do? Okay, if I have to do it. But then Sandra circles back. Once she really sees that Tony is like stumbling out of a spy shack, and she's like, he's really pushing this like big target thing. Yeah. Sandra's like, you know what? I think I'm good. I think it really only benefits him. So I got this idol burning a hole in my pocket that expires after this tribal. What can I come up with? And this is why we love Sandra, because she comes up with something fun like this. That's
right. You know, she offers Denise an idol for 2 tokens. Now, I don't know how she knew Denise had 2 tokens. Do we know that?
Something. No, we didn't see it. But somebody said something.
Yeah. So Sandra says, you know, idol for 2 tokens. Think about it. Like, you know, that's my offer. You pick one of the guys. You don't touch me or Kim. I thought that was a little interesting, because I didn't realize that Sandra and Kim were so tight, or, you know, maybe Sandra was just implying without saying directly, like, pick Tony, you know, like, I'm giving you permission to vote out Tony, obviously here. But she definitely says, like, pick a man. And then Denise comes back to her. And now remember that Sandra has no idea that Denise already has an idol. So, you know, this is like an insurance idol for Denise. But Denise comes back and she's thinking, like, great, like, why not get a second idol? But, like, here's the deal. 1 token now, 1 token later. Okay. Yeah. Because I don't know if this idol is real. You're Sandra. You could be pulling my leg. You could have, you know, made a fake idol. So let's just do half and half. And Sandra's like, let's do it.
Let's do it. I thought that was great. Yes. Did Denise really need this idol? No, but if she can save her idol and do this, I think that that's worth it.
All the better.
Even if it didn't go the way that it went, I think that was smart negotiating, because you can't 100% trust that Sandra's not like setting Denise up for something. And saying like 1 token now, 1 token after, like, that's just smart negotiation, right? So I thought all of that was amazing to watch. So entertaining. I loved it. But yeah, it just made sense, right?
Yeah.
In my head though, now I think this is when you texted me, oh my God, what if she turns it against Sandra? But I was like, no way. She's totally going for Tony. I was totally wrong this whole night.
Yeah. I was like, I texted Tara, I was like, this is why we love Sandra. She makes the game interesting. She's making moves. Denise is kind of feeling powerful. And I was like, jotting down in my notes for the episode, I was like, Denise feels powerful and she feels like this is her move, but it's really equally, if not more, Sandra's move. But that's when I thought, like, wait a minute, what if Denise flips it and makes it entirely her move and kicks Sandra out of the game with a single vote? Like, whoa.
Which is baller and amazing. But because we had like been set up with the editing of how, you know, crazy Tony is, I'm like, they're equally threats. So if Denise takes this as a moment to align with Sandra and take out Tony, then, you know, that's valuable. But what she did was extra level. So let's go
to tribal.
The first tribal is Sele.
And guess what? Wendell is stabbing people from the back. He's stabbing people from the front. He's stabbing people in the face. Like, I don't know where he's not stabbing people.
Yeah. He came in hot with a knife, apparently, and was just like, look, let's go. It's go time. Let's stab. And it's like, okay, calm down.
Yeah, he's saying like, it's $2 million. It's $2 million. And it's just like everybody else like takes the opportunity to be like, wow, I mean, I know it's $2 million, but like, calm down, Wendell. Like,
let's not stab everybody.
Yeah.
It
was like Nick and Michelle and Parvati were all like, wow, Wendell, like that was really intense.
Yeah. And then eventually when we get to Parvati, she's like, I just want to work with people who are fun to work with. And the eye roll that Wendell gave, we could not roll it big enough. It was like,
I know.
Like the hugest eye roll I've ever seen.
Well, and Wendell like jumps in to defend himself because he realizes like that was not received well. So he jumps in. Yeah, he's like, listen, people should appreciate it when you keep it real. And Jeff is like, Parvati, feels like Wendell maybe is talking to one particular person, and Parvati's like, feels like he's talking to Michelle because they have a past.
Let me deflect. Let me tell you something. They have a past. It's probably to Michelle. And then Michelle's answer wasn't super clear, except that it was like, yeah, probably.
Yeah,
probably me.
Right, exactly. But then Parvati starts to go to work on Wendell, right?
Yep.
She blows up his token move, and she's like, Wendell was trying to do something with me. He's after these tokens, and that's making people nervous. Yul is like, what's going on? This is like not in my calculations for how this tribal was going to go. Like he's getting nervous, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I loved Parvati outed the play. Great. And then I was like, Yul, why are you saying nothing? Like you're supposed to be in charge again. Like I'm so lost on why he wasn't dominating all of this.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I guess he knew enough information and felt secure enough to stay fairly quiet. But so then we open up to current negotiations. Wendell's like, it's still in play. You want to go? Let's go, Parvati. Yeah. And she's like, wait, what? Like, so they are discussing and they are talking, but again, it comes down to the fact that they don't trust each other.
Yes.
So what? They're like, you name someone. No, you name someone first. No, but I want to hear what you would name.
Yeah.
Okay, this is obviously not going to go anywhere. So maybe that's why Yul was quiet. He was like, this is not going to work.
I know. And then Michelle is like distraught at the end of all this. And Nick makes a final comment. These final comments at Tribal are especially poignant this season, it feels. But Nick makes this comment of, listen, somebody's stabbing somebody. So if you don't do it to somebody else, they're going to do it to you. Grow a backbone. You're going to have to send home people that you don't like sending home. And to me, that was a message to Michelle. Get over it. Parvati's going home. If you don't want to vote with us, don't vote with us. But that's what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. When he started that little speech, it's winners of war. Someone's going to get cut. I was like, oh, he's telling us he's willing to cut Wendell? I was like, yeah. Okay, and granted, you guys, Wendell is on my fantasy team, and I'm like, get him out. Let's go, Parvati. Totally lost it at this point.
Oh, my God. But then we go to vote, and we cut to commercial, and we come back, and we don't see any votes. Jeff's just there with the urn, ready to read the votes.
Yeah. Because at this point, I looked at the clock and I was like, oh my God, we have 10 minutes and a whole other tribal to go. What's about to go down? So Jeff's like, just like, real quick, let me just say Parvati, Wendell, Parvati. Right. And I was like,
okay, all of a sudden, Parvati's gone.
Parvati, bye. Especially to me, because I thought Wendell was going.
I know, yeah.
And then, Michelle looked a little teary at this point. She lost her girl, Parvati.
But guess what? She got 3 fire tokens out of this whole deal.
3 tokens from Parvati. Again, we didn't see anyone split up tokens. So they are under the impression they just give them all away to one person.
I guess so, yeah. So then we get the other tribal. So
real quick, Dakal walks in.
I know. It's like it all happens so quickly. Like Parvati grabs her torch, and then all of a sudden, Kim and Sandra and Tony are filing in. You know, it's all happening back to back.
Exactly.
And this tribal is like a little less compelling.
Yeah.
I think the camp was more compelling.
Minutes.
I know, right? We have less than 10 minutes here. Let's get the show on the road, folks. And, they're kind of talking about threats versus non-threats. There's talk about how Sandra, I think, says that Denise is a threat by virtue of the fact that she's a non-threat, because we're in danger of all the non-threats, kicking all of us legends out, and then they're all left to potentially win the prize. So that's like an interesting sort of like twist to try to put on that. But Jeremy then is saying like, look, we got to stay strong because we can't come back to tribal anymore. And so like, Denise, sorry, but like, we probably have to send you home.
Yeah. And then Denise was like, well, yeah, okay, I can't offer, some great challenge prowess, but I can offer relationships. And I do want to move forward with people. Denise is so smart. Like, she's got the right things to say. And Jeremy does allude to being like super, super nervous. So I am on the lookout for him to possibly play this. I believe in you guys. I don't know how this is going to go down, but bye-bye. I have safety. And I do feel like that, like, the camera lingered, and Jeremy was like,
okay.
He was first to vote. So he was like,
okay.
But then he got up and he voted. So we're like, okay, Jeremy's here. Yeah. He feels like it's going to be Denise. This is Sandra. This is just for show. I know you're not going.
He is so confident. Like, Denise, you're not going. And she's right. But
she's right. Denise is not going. She was correct in her confidence that Denise was not going. But it's so especially like beautiful because Sandra was smiling this whole time. Like, every move Denise made, Sandra was like, I'm in.
Girl. Yeah, girl. Yeah.
Got this.
Feeling good.
And so we go to vote, and
to read the vote.
Well, first we have to say, does anyone want to play an idol?
Oh, right. And Denise was like, Jeff, can you just give me a moment? And again, Sandra's like, yes, this is exactly how I planned it. So Denise, plays Sandra's idol.
Yes.
And Jeff, reveals, yes, it is a hidden immunity idol. Denise is now safe.
Great. Hey, Jeff, Tony's face. Is like,
right.
Oh.
Yeah, right, yeah. And then, Sandra's like, And then Denise is like, one more moment, Jeff, one more moment. And this, I think, is where Sandra's like, wait a second.
Yeah, but she's still smiling because it doesn't matter. It all doesn't.
She's like, use up the idols. Yes, send Tony home. I don't care.
You're like, wait, what's a second one? Oh, this is interesting. What is this? And she plays it for Jeremy. And Jeremy's like, oh, girl.
Yeah, right. He's probably thinking like, he's like, I wrote your name down, but thanks for the idol. Great. So I was questioning that idol move. I do want your perspective on this, Sarah, because I think you're right in terms of like why she played both idols, but I was questioning that move.
It's a bummer for those of us who see the big picture that she wasted her idol that she could have saved for later on. But she knew the move that was going down, right? Or at least she knew Sandra's version of it. So not fully trusting Sandra or assuming she doesn't have all the information, it might not have come down to just her one vote. They could have split votes. They could have totally lied to her and all the votes gone on Jeremy, or they could have split it up some way and there been one vote for Jeremy, which would have, gotten in the way of her one vote for the person that she votes for, whoever that may be. So she just wanted to confirm that her one vote was going to be the sole vote to evict. We're not in the house. We're not in the Big Brother house.
Evict. Vote off the island.
To vote off the island.
Yes.
And I think because she does have this established relationship with Jeremy, like, it doesn't hurt to keep that relationship strong, show loyalty.
Yeah, because Jeremy wrote her name down. So like, I think it was smart for her to play that idol and be like, hey, look, like, I got you. Like, let's not do this again. Let's not turn against each other anymore. Like, let's solidify this. Okay. So she plays the idol for Jeremy. It's a great moment. They're both safe. And I'm thinking, like, is my prediction going to be right? And then sure enough, it's like Denise. And then boom, Sandra is gone.
all smile Sandra. Tony is a wreck. And then it's Sandra. And she's like, what? And then she said, day 16 got her
again.
Not her lucky number, apparently.
No.
I mean, I still thought it was Tony. I didn't see it coming. I was like, this is amazing. Such
incredible.
A bold play that Denise, like, she just won the whole season. Like, that's it. Like, that is the kind of move that pays off in the end.
I mean, yeah. And Jeff says, like, that was, potentially like a player defining move. Like he says, like, it only takes a move like that to go from kind of under the radar to like a banner player. So everybody knows what a big move that is. And so effing smart of Denise to orchestrate that whole thing, get Sandra out, and she's still got that one fire token in her pocket. Like,
and she doesn't have to pay that second token.
All around good move from her.
Such a good move. Oh my God. Like, that is so, this is why we love Survivor, for that kind of play. Like, it was gorgeous. Right. It was beautiful. Like, we love Sandra. Sandra's the queen. Queen stays queen. But we knew she was going to be outed at some point, and for it to be like in such like high fashion, like so fantastic. Oh, it's just like juicy. I love it.
And Denise like gets this moment of like, this is power and a move unlike anything that has ever happened to me on Survivor. And that's the narrative of this season, changing your game. We've seen it a lot from Ben. We've seen it a lot from Michelle. Now we're seeing it from Denise. Like, these are the storylines that are going to really translate in a final tribal situation. Like, how did you adapt your game? How did you play differently this time?
How did you best the other winners?
Yeah, right.
It's insane. That's so hard to do.
Yeah.
We see in the coming up next week that Sandra gave her one token to Yul.
Interesting. You just never know with Sandra. I don't know what the justification is there, but I'm sure she has some reason behind it.
Yeah. I don't hate it. I'm down with that. I love that. Why not? But honestly, okay, so obviously we're not going back to Edge. We don't get to see all of that yet, but we just got rid of Rob, Parvati, and Sandra back to back. That's insane. Edge of Extinction is stacked with icons.
Yeah. Hello. That was crazy. Like, these new players are not effing around with the legends. Like, we kind of had like a start to the season where we were like, why are they keeping these people around? And then it was just all about timing, and the timing was right to get them out back to back to back. Like, they're all
I guess so. They were just like, let me just like look things over, see where everyone stands. And then they were like, boom, let's go.
I mean, all these shields are gone now. Like, that was also part of the conversation this episode, especially from people like Tony. And I think people like Kim need to be concerned about that as well. Like, these players who are seen as super dominant, but they're just getting rid of those shields. Like, they don't even care.
But honestly, you brought this up in one of our other videos, that it's not just like big target or, people with connections. It's people with connections to Rob. And that's who's on Edge of Extinction. So yes, we still have like big targets like Tony, and like you could talk about Kim or Yul. Like, we still have them in the game, but the ones that are closely connected to Rob are with Rob over on Edge of Extinction.
Right.
Is a better case scenario for, whoever may come back. If it's Rob, he has less people. If it's one of Rob's cronies, they don't have Rob. Like, you know what I mean?
Right. You're absolutely right. Now, we didn't see much in the preview itself. You mentioned that we saw Sandra's fire token, and then we see a little bit on the DeKalb Beach where, Tony's being Tony and Jeremy's entertained, but kind of seeing Tony as a threat. But we do not see a merge tease. We do not see an Edge of Extinction return tease. Like, when are these things going to happen?
They have to happen next week. I would put money that they're happening next week, even though we're not teased yet. I feel like the previews that come out, later this week or early next week will be showing us that we have a merge and a return next week. We talked on our Monday live stream that we were just comparing to last year's Edge of Extinction series. And it was day 17 that they went to merge and had their first returnee from Edge of Extinction. So that should line up to next week's episode because this was day 16.
Yeah, my extinction clock is ticking. Like, let's get this going.
And we have 8 people on Edge of Extinction, whereas we had 6 on the series called Edge of Extinction. So we've got more than enough people. Someone needs to come back in, and we need to get this going, right?
Yeah. Yep. Let's do it. I'm ready for that.
I think it's going to happen. Yeah. I'm so excited. I cannot believe what just went down.
This is such a good episode. This is so good. It's just like, this season has been delivering every single week. I'm so happy with this season so far.
Yes, agreed. Now, the one thing that some people have talked about is like, will Edge of Extinction become its own tribe? And I guess in theory that could happen where maybe we merge into one tribe and then they have, but that's like significantly less.
Yeah, it would be like 12 to 8.
Yeah. So I don't know. It doesn't mathematically add up to something that I feel like is going to happen. I feel like it's going to just be a one person returning at this point.
Yeah.
That's my guess. We don't know.
I mean, yeah, right. We have no idea. Maybe there'll be I'm sure there's going to be some kind of extinction twist. Like the Survivor producers were like, we can't just do it the way we did it before. Like there's going to be some kind of little wrinkle that will make it more interesting. And I can't wait to find out what that is, frankly.
Yeah. Especially with fire tokens, like it's already a little different. So how does that all work together? Oh my gosh. Yes. Such a good episode. Such a good season. All of it.
Yeah.
So good. All right. Yeah. So this is us from different locations.
I know. I hope it's working for you guys. I hope my audio turned out to be okay. These AirPods were giving us trouble at the beginning, I guess, but hopefully it worked out.
I might just be hearing you differently because I also have them in. So who knows? Oh yeah, some pointing out in the chat that Parvati had just purchased an idol nullifier and then was voted out. I mean, obviously she couldn't use it to her advantage at this point. So I'm sure that it is gone or potentially being thrown back into the game. But it doesn't get given to anyone else. I mean,
thank you for saying given. Thank you for that.
You know what, Douglas? After our last video, I got an email from Douglas, my husband, saying with just the link to the thesaurus of bequeath, so that I would have all the words that we could possibly use. But give is just such a good one.
It's such a good one. It just rolls right off the tongue.
It's not a big deal. I just give you the fire token, give you the advantage, whatever it is.
That easy. Yep.
It was really exciting to see them do so much fire token bargaining in this episode.
Yep, we finally figured out. I know. We were just talking about this, I think, on Monday about like, can they give tokens to each other? So confirmed, they can. Like it is an actual currency where you can pay tokens for a vote or for an idol on the island itself. Like this is great to see how that economy is now starting to take shape.
Yeah. And I do remember that Jeff had said that like preseason of like, you can bargain, it's currency, but like, because we haven't seen it, it's just like, oh, okay. So that's just your token. Like you just have that.
Is it currency? Yeah. Are you doing anything with it? Yeah.
Right. But yeah, this episode, they were like, let's go. Let's trade. What can you give me? Something like that.
Good stuff.
Yay. Oh, I see Artie just arrived in the chat, and I know that you are hoping for a Sandra win. So my condolences to you. Also, my condolences to Jolene because she had Parvati and Sandra on her team.
And unfortunately, you do not get any points for people getting voted out. Sorry, Jolene.
That would be a different fantasy league. That sure would.
Yeah.
You guys, thank you so much for joining us on this live video, a little different than what we usually do.
Yes, we hope that you all surviving isolation. If you're isolating wherever you are, we're happy to be here with you so we can all kind of get through this together and not be quite so bored.
Right? This was definitely the kind of distraction we needed, right? A little
I know. Absolutely.
we're going to be back live tomorrow night to talk BB Canada after that eviction happens tomorrow.
And let me tell you something. There's a lot of drama going down on that show this season right now. Holy crap.
Yeah. We're barely into that season, and it's like, whoa.
It's good. It's dramatic. I will say that for sure.
Yeah. And then, of course, we'll be back next week with more Survivor conversations for you then.
Yeah. All right. We'll keep this train going. Thank you guys for joining us, and we will see you next week.
Okay, bye.
Bye. The stream is over. Au revoir. Farewell.